What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 16 of Tsunami Speaks with your host, Tsunami Jones. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, tell a friend if you can. That way we can continue to grow this channel as we've been making progress every single week. And quick note, before we start, I did want to apologize real quick for not going live today. As I said earlier in the week I would do if the Jets won, and we did. But not gonna lie, I was a bit lost in the sauce. See what I did there? And just couldn't go live, y'all. I could not under those circumstances. Y'all wouldn't have been ready for me. So forgive me. I got y'all next time for sure, especially after a dub, but I might even do it after. We ain't even gonna speak about losses right now. We gonna just talk about dubs. So moving on into the game here. I now reported last week that the same old Jets were dead. But today, we danced on that man's grave. We stomped him down another 6 feet under. Ladies and gentlemen, the New York Jets are 4-2, okay? 4-2. Side note, the Jets are also 4-2 when I predict the Jets are going to win. Coincidence? I think not. But that said, it's a damn shame the Chiefs didn't hold up their end of the bargain. I was rooting for those boys today because if they would have won, our boys would have been tops in the AFC East. I cannot remember the last time that has happened. But alas, that didn't happen. I guess only we can slay that dragon. That's fine with me. Let's go Jets, period. Screw the Bills, screw the Chiefs. It don't matter right now. As far as this game goes, though, there were so many huge plays in this damn game. It's so many to go through. I'm just gonna go with my favorite play really quick here, and that was gonna be the block punt with Michael Clemens and Will Parks scooping up the football and getting in that damn end zone. Clemens hits like a Mack truck anyway, but in this play he was even more just himself. I don't know how another way to describe homie. He just hits hard, but it was a clean hit. And honestly, my favorite part of that play is something that I don't think many people would witness or pay attention to. Justin Hardy is behind him and he flies, okay, towards the football. What ends up happening is Parks was a little closer to it, scoops the ball up first. But Hardy got right behind him and he made sure as Parks was running into the end zone, he was there to block anybody that was going to challenge us on the way there. And I know, again, that might not be something that most people are going to think about, but for me, you got to look at it as he told us, and when he tweeted a few weeks back when we played against the Steelers. Remember that play where we fumbled, not we, but the Steelers fumbled, and special teams just kind of looked around at each other like, oh, we should get that. And no one did, right? So he actually made a tweet about it and said, this won't happen again. I won't let it. So I feel like that was in the back of his head. And that's why he sailed off so hard, even though many other players had better position than him. It's the small stuff, guys. That's what wins games. Small stuff like that, especially when it comes to special teams. So that was definitely one of my favorite plays. Like I said, it's the little things. Another one of my favorite plays, because I'm talking about not just necessarily huge plays, just plays where big things happened, okay? There are a lot of those, but I wanted to hit on those ones that you might not have noticed. One of my favorites was Brandon Eccles, okay? Remember Sauce came out on that, it looked like almost like a helmet-to-helmet hit, and Sauce was I don't want to say it was woozy, but they took him out of the game. He ended up walking off, and he was fine. Took a little bit, though. When that happened, the game continued, right? And who came in there? Brandon Eccles. Brandon Eccles, the what? I believe was a 6th-round pick last year. Started most of the games last year across from Bryce Hall, not Brees, y'all. Bryce Hall. And there were some games where he took some licks, and there were some games where he made some plays. For example, against the Dolphins, I think he had an interception. Played really well in that game. All that said, you got to think about he loses the starting job because you get this young upstart Sauce Gardner, right? And then you get DJ Reed, the veteran baller, right? We get those two guys in there. He loses his job. But this guy, when his number is called, he comes in and he makes plays, okay? He came in there. Aaron Rodgers said, oh, Sauce is out. let's make an end zone shot here and get back in the game. I believe it was 24-17, not 17, that didn't exist, 24-10 at the time. And they went for it on the end zone. He threw to Alan Lazard, who at that time was his best wide receiver. Cobb is out, and also Lazard is better than Cobb, except for when it comes to route running. Anyway, you guys get the point. Aaron throws at him. Brandon Eccles goes up there and makes the play. Pass breakup. Beautiful. Textbook. That's what you want to see. And again, this is a guy who's not starting. He's not getting consistent reps as a defensive back because there are better players that are better than him out there. But every time he comes in, he makes a play. That one was huge, and it's going to fly under the radar. But I saw it, and I was beyond excited seeing that. So he did it again in the Browns game a few weeks ago when Sauce came out on a couple of plays because Sauce got banged up. Came back in later, but it doesn't matter. He made those plays. So that guy is a stay ready champion, and I love him for being on a team and doing that. We have such a young team, but you know, some players get in their feelings when they're not starters anymore. That's the culture I like about football as opposed to basketball. But moving that along here, I love this young team, period. Okay, so moving into the keys that I said, we're going to revisit those keys to the W. Alrighty, so let's start with complimentary football. That was one of my keys. Did we play complimentary football? Yes, sir, we did. Yes, we did. Every phase of the ball had an explosive play. From the Brees Hall touchdown to the Berrios touchdown, both of them were huge for our offense because we were stalling for a while there, right? Special teams was balling out. You already know. I already talked about that play. And then, of course, the defense. We had sacks. We saw pass breakups, hard hits everywhere, and every second. There was something for you to enjoy no matter what kind of fan you are, whether you like offense, defense, special teams, or if you're like me and you like all those plays. It was a fun game for you. Phenomenal. Chef's kiss, all that. All right? Wow. Okay, so again, complimentary football, check. Did we manage penalties and try to limit them? I'm going to say no. However, there's a reason for it. So I'm not going to toot my own horn about this because I just want to bring up that I did call this in the last video, saying penalties might be a problem with this team in general just because we've been averaging 72 yards a game. Penalty yardage. We finished at 79 yards of penalty yardage. Now I can be honest here. The refs were horrible. They were terrible. I cannot emphasize it enough. Even if you're not a Jets fan and you watch this game, you come away looking at, is this rigged? Almost. You almost think that, right? You almost think that. Or most of us thought it. I'm not going to lie here. I'm not saying they're rigging it for the Packers or anything like that. They just wanted to give the Packers more chances is what it felt like. Let me make sure I say it that way. I'm not a person that loves to complain about refs. My dad and I talk about this a lot, especially with basketball and things like that. So I'm not one to go there right away. But when it's blatant, like the non-call, where Brees Hall was out of bounds and Big Homie threw him even further out, okay? Just knocked him out. I mean, for no reason, right? Brees was what the hell was that? Brees gets up. He's like, what's going on? Looks at the ref. The ref's like, might have been a penalty there. He thinks about it. He stops. Nah, Jets will figure it out. They don't need that call. They already got the first down, right? I believe it was a first down anyway. So I feel like that's what they were thinking. Again, I know how that sounds. Not a homer or anything like that. Anybody that isn't a Jets fan is going to agree with me on that call. There were other calls that are more subjective in this game that you can lean either way. But that one, you lost me, bro. You lost me, refs. I know a lot of Jets Twitter knows the name of the guy. I think his name is Cleat. Cleat, you're in trouble, bro. Be glad the Jets won, Cleat. Because not that I was going to come after you, but Jets Twitter was going to find you. Just saying. All right, so moving on there. Did we win the time of possession game? Guys, without looking at the stats, do you think we did? I thought we did. Believe it or not, we didn't. The Packers possessed the ball 31 minutes and 11 seconds to our 28 minutes and 49 seconds. The first half, we kept giving the Packers the ball back and not extending drives. So if you were watching it like I was, or of course, like everyone was, I'm sure, obviously, that's watching this video, we kept going 3-and-out. We could not convert on third down. We just couldn't. I think we only actually had one third down conversion. That's what I saw when I looked at the box score earlier. We won a game like that? What? Anyway, so that kind of explains and tells the tale. But what I would say is that I think the first half is when we were really struggling. In the second half, obviously, we scored a couple of touchdowns, but we were able to have some extended plays. There was a play or two where we threw to Corey Davis, and I believe that was a third down play. So that, that's the only way to really have the ball a long time, is to continue drives and make those third down conversions. That is said, and put all that aside, we did start running the ball more in the second half. Case in point, that might have been why we started scoring there. But Mike LaFleur, I'm not mad at you today. I was mad earlier. We won. I'm going to let all that go. So, moving on to the run the ball portion of the show. Guys, we got 179 yards rushing in this game. Almost 200 yards rushing in this game. And remember, we didn't convert anything in the first half. I think we had 3 points in the first half? I don't even remember, y'all. It's been a wild day. So, I mean, we barely were making an impact there. So it's wild. Moving on, all that. So 170 yards is huge. We took advantage of their weakness in defending the run. I mentioned that in the last video, that basically teams minus that game against the Packers had against the Bucks, they were basically doing 150 yards damage on the ground. And we have one of the best running back tandems in the NFL, right? Breece Hall, Michael Carter, let's go, right? And that's how we got 179 yards. Again, imagine if we ran it more in the first half, but we're going to let it go, right? Dub, right? Dub. We're not supposed to complain when there's a dub, right? All right, moving on. Stopping the run. We did. We stopped the hell out of the run. We held the Green Bay Packers to 60 yards rushing. Way to go, defense. Way to bounce back from last week against Miami. Y'all remember what Miami did? Mozart, who I actually like when he's not in a Miami Dolphins jersey, he ran all over us. What was it, like 100 plus yards, and was scaring us a little bit before we took out that can of whoop ass and we beat him all over the place against the Dolphins in the fourth quarter. But before that, though, Mozart was scaring me, and I'm sure all of Jets Nation, Jets Twitter, all of us, regardless, right? Anyway, just very impressive as a whole. I feel like every part of the defense stepped up in stopping the run, from our secondary to our linebackers, especially, and of course the defensive line. Just perfect harmony that they played in. I don't know. I'm still gushing about it because 60 yards rushing. Way to go, defense. That's just the one weakness that always scares me right now. I'm still getting used to Rob Saleh's defense. It's just so, seeing us step up like that. Let's go. I did not expect this, but let's go. All right, moving on. Great special teams performance. Did we have that happen? I'd say so. We had a few things go not perfectly, but here's one. Braden Mann had one punt that was 61 yards. My guy is doing a little bit better each week, but he didn't have any punts within the 20. I don't put full blame on Mann, considering that the Jets offense, again, in the first half, wasn't moving the ball. So we were always in our own territory. So it's, how's it going to punt them into the 20 if we don't have good field position before punting the ball? So I won't put it all on him. And, so no big deal. And again, then that 61 yarder really impressed me. So it's like his leg is getting stronger week to week. It damn near looks like it anyway, because I don't think he had one that long this season yet. That said, I already brought up the special teams play earlier, but I'll mention it again. It was huge. And it's always huge when a special teams unit gives you points. It's not something you can expect on a game-to-game basis, depending on the other team's special teams unit. And just, sometimes the ball just doesn't bounce that way. You need a little bit of luck, and you need really good coaching. Brant Boyer, seems to be a very good special teams coach. We have our ace with Justin Hardy. I already mentioned, what he did. Again, he may not have had any plays that jumped off the stat sheet, but if you are a football fan, you'll notice what he does on a week-to-week basis. And of course, Michael Clemens looks like he's getting better. It's wild to see him as a special teams player. As a side note, guys, it's just weird, man. I mean, I'd be scared of him if I were about to, catch a ball in the backfield. But that's neither here nor there. Will Parks, you've been playing well all season when your number has been called on special teams, defense, all that stuff. I am a huge fan, Will. You remind me of a Quan, okay? You remind me of a Quan Alexander, but in safety form. That's high praise from me. Just putting that out there. I love when he gets in the game. I hope he still gets some more opportunities in both sides. Anyway, let's go. Special teams. Great job. Moving on. Did the defense get to the QB? What do y'all think? We absolutely did. We had 4 sacks and 9 QB hits. That was more than what we did last week. And I thought we lived in the Dolphins' backfield. Our defensive line started a little bit slow to start this season out, but week to week, the heat's been turning up. It looks like ever since that Bengals game, when Quinnen got into it with Aaron Whitecotton, the defensive line coach, we've seen some plays happen there. Defensive line has been getting more push. Quinnen is getting more push. Is it because Quinnen's getting more snaps? Maybe. Something to look at. I didn't see the advanced stats that were available on PFF today. They weren't out yet by the time I made this video, guys, so I apologize. Not my fault. I didn't think you guys wanted to wait till Monday. So that's kind of where it is with that, but he was everywhere. Quinnen had 2 of the 4 sacks that we had. JFM and Sheldon Rankins joined the party with a sack each. This is not the first sack for Sheldon Rankins. Just as a side note, Sheldon Rankins has been playing better and better this season as opposed to last season. He was terrible last year. So I wonder if it's just part of it as having a better defensive line around him is making him better, or if he took it upon himself and felt bad about how he played last year. Maybe he was more banged up injury-wise last year. He hasn't been on the injury report. He's been healthy, so maybe that's all it takes. I don't know, but our defensive line has been fun. We had Aaron Rodgers seeing ghosts out there. Tell me I'm wrong. If you saw it, he didn't do the whole meme with him looking like this on the sideline and the helmet and all that craziness and turf in his face. We ain't see that, but he was on his back a lot, okay? Our defense plays so damn well, y'all, that Jordan Love had to come out there and play mop-up duty. The Jets were the team that forced a team to put their backup quarterback in there because we were blowing another team out. Can't emphasize that enough. Jets fans, y'all know what I'm talking about, right? When were we doing this in the past? When? Years ago, right? Even as a Jets fan that was really excited during the Rex Ryan days, we didn't do a lot of that. We blew some teams out, but it was because our defense kept scoring all over the place. Or we had games like that. Our offense was solid and had some good games, but we didn't blow out teams often. We've had 2 back-to-back blowouts against teams that should be really good. Anyway, moving on. That's my favorite thing. So just don't dismiss it. Relish in this feeling. We are the team blowing teams out and making them put their backups in there. This is new. Last key that I had was that our offensive line needed to hold up for Zach. I'd say we achieved this because we didn't get killed. Zach didn't get killed out there. We only gave up 2 sacks, even though, in my opinion, it felt like more. But I think there were a lot of factors involved. The pocket was muddy around Zach. Part of that is because he held the ball too long. The other part of that is the separation aspect of our wide receivers. I'm not saying our wide receivers are bad. I'm saying that the Green Bay Packers secondary came to play. I didn't talk about them much in my last video, so I'll take a moment here. Again, the Green Bay Packers have Jair Alexander, a top 5 corner in the NFL. Eric Stokes, who was their first round draft pick in the year before last year's draft. People thought it was crazy that they drafted him, and he's been very good for them. So just putting that out there. Rasul Douglas was fantastic last year for the Packers. Those are the three corners they had, and all of three of them played. So they were able to match up with our guys. Jair was really good against Garrett Wilson. I think on a positive note, but a side note, I think that's going to help him along the way. I don't think Garrett Wilson has experienced this kind of press man other than Sauce. So this was good for his development. At least that's how I'm choosing to see it. Tell me I'm a homer if you want. Garrett Wilson needs to experience this as a rookie. He'll be prepared for it later. But moving off that, did you see in the second half how well Dwayne Brown was blocking, especially on those scoring drives? Specifically, my favorite, when he helped springboard Braxton Berrios into the end zone. Y'all saw that end around that he had, right? Dwayne Brown was out on the edge blocking, right? He was running. And y'all know Dwayne Brown is a big man. He's really big. Every time I look at him, I feel like he grew more. And remember, he's playing with his injured shoulder. He just decided to rehab it and is playing through pain. So I'm always impressed by what he's doing. He's a big dude, and just seeing him run like that is awesome. So credit to you, Dwayne Brown, especially for what you're doing playing through this injury. Thank you, sir. AVT was quiet. So if you guys, I've been watching the NFL, obviously you have. The thing you want to see is you don't really want to notice your offensive linemen unless they're doing pancakes out there and blocking on the edge and stuff like that, like I mentioned for Dwayne. So I'm assuming AVT probably didn't give up a sack. I don't recall, even with me having watched the game a couple of times. The first time doesn't count because I was not all the way there. The second time counts though. So I'm curious. I think he had a good game, and I'm curious to see what his scores were. I remember seeing Nate Herbig make some plays, or at least blocking on the edge, or just blocking well. And his helmet got snatched off, and he was able to draw that penalty. So good stuff there. I would love to see what PFF puts up there for their grades, even though they can be spotty. Y'all know. All right, so we're going to move on here to the player spotlights. Of course, we're going to start with the New York Jets here. Zach Wilson. So basically, wasn't his best game statistically. It wasn't, it's obvious. He was 10 of 18 for 110 yards. Not what you really want to see. In the first half, he was fairly inaccurate. But I'm going to, like I mentioned earlier, I'm going to give massive credit to the Packers secondary. They did a good job of not letting our wide receivers get separation. They're monsters. Jair Alexander wanted to win this game. Remember, he made those comments that he wouldn't be worried about the Packers losing unless they lost to the Jets. Hi, Jair. Anyway, but he did put the clamps on G-Dub. But in the second half, the lights switched on for Zach. He made some good plays there, and I'm starting to expect that week to week. I mean, he's been doing it for 3 straight games. And 3 straight games of him playing, 3 straight games of him winning. If his numbers are ugly, I don't care if it results in a W. In the fourth quarter, we barely passed at all. We were killing them with the run, so we just played it very safe. I think Rob Saleh has a lot of respect for Matt LaFleur, their head coach, and was just very careful. I think that was game plan. I think that was Saleh and all of those things, and that's why we just didn't throw much. Plus, it ended up working in our favor last week, so I think that's what they were thinking. So that's why Zach didn't really go off, but it looks like towards the end of the game, especially in that third quarter when he made those big passes to Corey Davis, that you're starting to get on a roll here. They're starting to build that chemistry, and they were starting to build separation. So I think it was about to be, like with a dam, they were starting to spring leaks. That happened, and then we just said, we just gonna run. It's cool, because every time Brees touched the ball, good things happened. So no big deal. Personally, I just wish on that very last drive when we were up 24-10 that we were able to get in the end zone and get a touchdown. Zach had a ball where he tried to, it wasn't a QB sneak, but he tried to get in the end zone, or it was a QB sneak, whatever. I wish he had gotten in there. It happens. It is what it is. But that helps his stat line. B, he deserved it. He fought in that game. So I would have liked to have seen it, but it is what it is. Moving on. Corey Davis. That was a guy I thought was going to have a pretty big game. He didn't have a big game, but he did have 2 receptions for 52 yards, and those receptions were both huge. I believe one of those was on 3rd down. It was the only 3rd down conversion we had. So, credit there. Both catches were huge. And they came off big boy throws from Zach. So their relationship is still blossoming. Obviously, they have that connection. If we actually decide we're going to throw the ball on all 4 quarters, I'm sure Corey Davis would have had a bigger game in this game, or just in general. The next game we might have those opportunities. We'll see. So I think that we're just going to keep riding on Breece, because Breece is killing it every time. Michael Carter's playing well too. So that's kind of what we chose to do in this game. So speaking of Breece the Beast Hall, okay? My guy had 20 rushes for 116 yards. Wow. Oh, I'm sorry. And a touchdown. Forgot to mention that. And a touchdown. He surpassed my expectations. My God. He just would not go down on the first hit. There were several plays in which he made a play out of nothing. It looked like the Packers had him and he would just wriggle free and get a few more yards. There's one early in the game where he was stopped and he got 9 yards out of nowhere. I was like, what the? Okay. I love him, man. He's so fun to watch. And honestly, my opinion, could be wrong. Had we fed him more in the first half, I feel like he could have had another 200 yards from scrimmage. We didn't throw to him a lot. We threw to him twice, and it was for, I believe, less than 10 yards. So that killed one of the things I had going as far as the receptions. But that was a separate little bet that I had, so don't worry about that. Anyway, he played great. Michael Carter played great, but mostly Breece Hall helped us win this game. At one point in this game, Breece Hall was the only one with positive yardage for a while there. Anytime he was there, good things happened. So much credit to Breece. Thank God we have him. Thank God we traded up in the second round to get him. All right. One of my favorite parts I want to talk about in this game was our linebacker unit. I talked about them in the last video. I said we needed a good game from them, and I was those were who I was going to really be focused on. Quan Alexander, Quincy Williams, CJ Mosley. Without even looking at the stats, these guys dominated in my opinion. And we all know the linebackers are one of our weaknesses, or they were perceived one of our weaknesses of the defense, because our secondary is so strong. And all 3 of those guys made a play, even if you don't see a ton stat-wise, okay? Quan had a pass breakup that was huge at the end of the game. CJ Mosley had a pass breakup. Something that happens regularly. So my guy is getting a little bit better with age. Whatever. And so, and then of course, like I said, with Quan, that play was so huge in the moment. He just makes big plays at the most opportune times. And that you need players like that, you know, when it's winning time, so to speak, to go out there and win the game for you. Quincy, welcome back, sir. Welcome back. We missed you. He had 14 tackles, and a few of those tackles were bone-crushing hits, guys. They may not have been tackles for a loss, but he was holding them at the 1 or to a 1-yard gain or a 2-yard gain. Bang, you know? Again, one of the reasons why we held in the 60 rushing yards. It's because of those guys. And Quincy and his uppercut, damn it, and his uppercut are back. Okay? I love when he does that. I love when him and Quinnen both do it at the same time. It's awesome. And we got to see it again. And we got to see it twice in the game because Quincy was out there killing it. And I'm just honestly excited to see again how those stats bear out on PFF. But it doesn't really matter. Our eyes can tell you they all 3 played great. Proud of them. As far as the Green Bay Packers go, Aaron Rodgers. The New York Jets made Aaron Rodgers look mortal in this game. He was 26 of 41 for 246 yards and a touchdown, I believe. I don't even remember the touchdown stuff, but I think he had a touchdown. Yeah, he did, that he threw to Lazard, his only one. Don't talk to me about his thumb injury that he had coming off the Giants game. It doesn't matter. Aaron has had injuries before, and he's been able to kill teams. Our defense was in the backfield constantly in this game, and our secondary gave him very few places and windows to throw to when his protection did hold up. He made a few plays in this game, but that's it. That's all he could do. I'm sorry, Aaron. The Jets wanted this W more. And again, I'm an Aaron fan. I like him a lot. It's just Jets are a better team. Who would have thought, right? Moving on to Aaron Jones. I thought Aaron Jones was going to boogie on us a little bit. You know, a lot more than what I saw. Aaron Jones was held to 9 rushes for 19 yards. Wow. 3 receptions for 25 yards. Very good. Wonderful. Did not make enough plays for them. Not necessarily his fault. Again, our defense was in his grill too. They couldn't do it. Preston Smith. Dude I outlined as well, I thought might be instrumental as far as their pass rush goes. He was very quiet in this game. No sacks, 2 tackles. So I stand corrected in thinking he was going to do something. I'm happily standing. I'll give credit to our offensive line there, having a wise old vet like Dwayne Brown. And the rest of the way our offensive line has been playing, they've been making plays. So we held up on him. Rashawn Gary had a nice little, had a nice sack on Zach and whatnot, but we did a good job protecting. So moving on here for our game ball. Right. So my game ball. My game ball goes to Quinnen Williams. Have to go here. Even though many plays were made by many players in this game. But if you look at the full stat sheet for my guy had 2 sacks. My guy blocked. My guy forced the fumble and had 5 tackles. That tells you most of the story. But in order to see the entire story, you had to watch him. He was in their backfield the entire game. Well, when he was playing. When he was playing, he was there. He was in the backfield. They couldn't block him. And keep in mind, because this might get lost in translation, they have a good offensive line. David Bakhtiari and Elton, I think, Jenkins are perennial Pro Bowlers. Those are really good players, and they could not block Quinnen. They had nothing for him. They had nothing for him. I'm gushing about him because I'm just so proud of the kid. He was just so fantastic. He looked like a mini. We can call him a poor man's if you want. Poor man's Aaron Donald. I don't care. He was breaking the game for the Jets in all the right ways. And the craziest thing to me, personally, is he got hit in the face, right? Y'all saw him got hit in the face and he went out for a little while because they had to do something about his eye. I wonder how bad he got hit because he was out for a bit. And when he did interviews at the end of the game, he was wearing sunglasses. I don't think he was trying to be cute. He doesn't do that. He did it because he got hit. So with all of that being said, how many snaps did he miss? Could he have had 3 sacks? 2 block kicks? I mean, I don't know. Maybe not 2 block kicks, but could he have had 3 sacks? More fumbles? More tackles? I don't know. But he was everything. If he is not in this game, I'm not sure the Jets can win it. Because he made those plays, he was able to get those other guys free. We have a great defensive line, so I know part of it is them making their plays. Like I said, Rankin's playing well, JFM playing well, all of them playing well together as a unit. Yes. But Quinnen is the straw that stirs the drink. Period. So yeah, just a scary thought of what he could have done, but I don't care. Jets won. He played awesome. That's who gets my vote for game ball. Some unsung heroes that I just want to outline because they played really well. Sauce Gardner. When it comes to corners and numbers like that, it's tough to really see it jump off the stat sheet unless you have advanced analytics. Again, I don't have them yet because they're not ready on PFF. But what I can tell you is he had 2 pass breakups that were just remarkable. That dude always makes at least 1 to 2 plays a game that make you jump out of your seat and want to scream in a good way. I do. Because he's so good. Richard Sherman's out here outlining the plays he does because he's blown away by him. We have a top 10, I'm being nice here, top 10 corner in the NFL. I might fight you and want to say top 5, but I'll be nice and say top 10. He is a rookie and he's doing this. This is one of the toughest positions to come in the NFL and dominate, and that's what he's doing. And fun fact, so to speak here, when they interviewed him in the game, they asked him, "How do you think you played?" He said, "I think I played decent. That's it. Just decent." Really? What is great? I guess he wanted to get pick those both those balls off. And that play in the beginning of the game when he had a pick six. I need to rewatch it a few times to make sure I believe that he didn't get a pick six or that he did get a pick six because it looked like it was into me. But again, we leaving the refs alone today because the Jets got a W. All right. Can't wait to see what his great game looks like next time he steps on the field. My other unsung hero, again, I could probably name 5 guys for this. I don't want to be doing this for so long. Quincy Williams. I talked about him a few minutes ago, but I want to just outline that this is what he did today in his first game back off that ankle injury. I wondered if he was coming back a little too fast. I just didn't say it. So I don't want to bring that negativity in there, There's no point in doing it. But I was a little worried about it because remember that ankle injury looked horrific against the Bengals game. He only missed 2 weeks. He comes in here and he makes plays like that. And remember, we're not getting last year's Quincy Williams that was overshooting guys and not great in coverage and getting exposed on plays sometimes. Sometimes. I mean, he was just, I would say he was hit or miss last year. This is a more in control Quincy Williams. So you can tell he's receiving the coaching. I'm glad he spent time with CJ Mosley in the offseason. It's made him a better player. I am so excited to see what this defense can do with having him and Quan on our roster and killing it week to week. Just wow. This is what we got. This is what we get as Jets fans. We deserve it. Let's go. Quincy Williams. Damn, I mean, again, Quincy and Quan, the hit stick meter, it's going to be at a 10. You're going to get at least a few of those huge hits per game. And remember, those hits are what change football games. Those are what cause fumbles, get sacks, all the stuff you need to see. All right. Anyway, go Quincy. What a game, sir. What a game. Wonderful. All right. So to wrap up here, as far as my gambling part goes, my potential parlays that I outlined, I did pretty well. It's about time I had a really awesome week. So first off, obviously I took the Jets to cover again. FanDuel had them at 7.5 points. We hit on that. I parlayed that and the money line too, so that helped me. Thank you, New York Jets. You made me feel good as a fan, and you made my wallet feel good. Vikings minus the points against the Dolphins. I already mentioned that last week, obviously. Had so many injuries going into it. Vikings did their job. 1 o'clock Kirk Cousins did what he does, okay? Finally, Justin Jefferson got to go off a little bit. They look good today. I got the money there. Seahawks plus the points. Seahawks were home against the Cardinals. The Cardinals had injuries to everybody, including their kicker, and they had Matt Amendola in there. So I was like, ain't no way I'm going to take them. So I parlayed a lot of these in a teaser, and the teaser hit. So that was one. But of course, I didn't use that same line as far as the 2.5 points. I did a much larger one for that. But I also did one as well for the Vikings and the Seahawks. Anyway, without going too granular into it, I want to give a big thank you and a shout out to Walker and Woolen, the Seattle Hawks. The Seahawks is running back, and their corner. Woolen is a rookie too, who's actually playing very well. So might be some competition for Rookie of the Week for my guy Sauce in the future, at least on the defensive side of the ball. But I ain't worried about it right now. Thank you for the monies. I appreciate it. Shout out to Knicks, Jets, etc. as well. First of all, loved the show as always, guys, and it was fun being on their show last week. So I want to give them another shout out just for that in general. But there was a bet that I did get from Greg as far as just the money line one. And what they did is what he mentioned was the Jets. Let's see if I remember this correctly. And I might be getting the person wrong. I think it was Greg. It might have been John. I don't remember. Sorry, guys. But it was Jets money line, Giants money line, and what was and of course the Seahawks money line. Took all three of those, and that hit. That was just a separate one that I didn't bring up on the show because that wasn't mine to give out. That was one I literally got from them, and it was a wonderful little parlay that netted me some decent money. Love it. And then of course the parlay I mentioned earlier, last week or whatever, for Brees. Just I believe I said 70 plus yards, touchdown, and I believe I parlayed it with the money line. I think it was those three. I think that's what I did. Anyway, I just got the monies for it, so that's all I remember. So it was a good day for me gambling wise, except for that island game. I don't know why I did that, but that's something I did today because I did so well earlier, so I was feeling myself a little bit. Anyway, moving off that, good day all the way around. The Jets came through. We're 4-2, second in the division for now. Look out, world. And I'll give a shout out to the Giants. Great job, y'all. A, you got me some money, and B, I'm happy for the fans in New York. We deserve to see football, winning football in the city. It's been a long time since that's happened for both teams. So shout out to you guys too. Shout out to Dad as a Giants fan too. Gotta give y'all your flowers for now. Anyway, all that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching as always. And if you haven't subscribed, please do so. It helps the channel. Don't forget to like and comment as well. I always appreciate you guys when you do that in general. And tell a friend, share it, whatever you want to do. I appreciate y'all. It's gonna be a good week for us as New Yorkers in general. Let's relish this moment. Let's enjoy it. Let's talk our crap all week, whether it's in the office, whether it's on Twitter, social media. Let's just talk our crap because you know what? We can. Because we're winning. Jets, Jets, Jets. Have a good night, guys.